to implementation of RFIA reports.
NBC hereby announces the revocation of the license of the underlisted debtors.
National Broadcasting Commission revokes broadcast licenses of 52 broadcasting stations.
We work, reach over 3,000 households.
Also tonight, 2022 World Humanitarian Day, a wake-up call to proactive actions to avert flooding. Hello and thanks for joining us on the Network News. I am Elizabeth Omori. Hingino John Adams joins us from Lagos and Mohammed Ibrahim in Maiduguri. You can start following us live on our website nta.ng/live as well as other social media platforms on the screen. President Mohammed, the stability of Chad Republic and indeed all Nigerian neighboring countries is in the nation's best interest. President Muhammad Buhari stated this while receiving a special envoy from the transitional president of Chad, General Mahamat Idris Deby. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Chadian Special Envoy, Bra Muhammad Dalla, who is the country's Minister of Public Works, is here to brief President Muhammad Buhari on the forthcoming Sovereign National Dialogue scheduled for Saturday. He said over 99% of Chadians are interested in and taking part in the dialogue, including main rebel groups, while soliciting the support of Nigeria during and after the event. The envoy assured the Nigerian leader that the outcome would be respected and scrupulously implemented. President Buhari said relations between Nigeria and Chad transcend that of neighbors, as the late President Idris Deby Itno kept him constantly briefed on developments in the country. He described as impressive the ability of the present leadership of the country to stabilize the polity. The president said he would keep an ear to the ground, monitor developments closely as Chadians hold a national dialogue, promising the support of Nigeria in any form required. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And we have a cheering news. A 90-year-old victim of Abuja Kaduna train attack, Haja Halima Atta, her 53-year-old daughter, Adama Ataliu, and one Mohammed Sani Abdulmajid, as well as Modi Bodinga, have been released by their captors. A statement from a Kaduna-based Desert Herald newspaper publisher, Tukur Mamu, says 4 victims regained their freedom early morning of today, Friday. Those released have been reunited with their families. President Muhammad Buhari has restated his administration's commitment to the implementation of the RFIA's report on the restructuring and rationalization of ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government. It said the report would lead to fundamental changes in the structure of the civil service as engine room of the government. The president was speaking at an audience with the Central Working Committee of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The federal government, President Buhari says, will remain focused on strengthening the civil service in view of its importance in policy formulation and implementation towards the provision of socio-economic and political benefits to Nigerians.
A strong civil service is the bedrock on which good governance, policy execution, and fast ways for the delivery of democratic dividends can be achieved. The civil service must not be seen as a dumping ground for job seekers, but must attract the best who will contribute fresh ideas and a determination to solving our socio-economic problem.
The president is, however, emphatic that the federal government will not tolerate any policy that will destabilize the service and therefore implore civil servants to at all times remain non-partisan in the discharge of their duties, no matter the political party that is in power.
The request for an increase in the budgetary allocation to the federal government Staff Housing Loans Board, the head of service of the Federation, is directed to liaise with other relevant government agencies to see how the 2023 budget estimates can can accommodate an increase in the budget of federal government staff housing board.
President Buhari also confirmed that a report is being awaited from the Minister of Finance for appropriate action on the harmonization of salary in the public service. The government, he added, is not unmindful of the fast eroding purchasing power of the naira because of the global problems of high inflation amidst general economic disruption, but called for understanding in view of the revenue constraints caused mainly by the theft of the nation's crude, a major contributor to the economy.
We will not allow a few criminals to have unfettered access to the nation's crude oil supply. Hence, I have directed our security agencies to speedily bring to a halt the activities of these vandals in the Niger Delta. There should be no hiding place for such criminals.
President of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, Dr. Tommy Okon, had earlier appreciated the Buhari administration for being worker-friendly with the implementation of far-reaching reforms, including regular payment of salaries and allowances, increase in minimum wage, extension of retirement age for teachers, and sustenance of the science of public service in spite of constraints of financing.
I am really delighted that you have restored the tenure policy in the Federal Civil Service. This has opened more opportunity for civil servants to advance in their career ladder, as vacancies are now being created and stagnation reduced.
This is the first formal engagement between the association and any sitting president of Nigeria. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammad Buhari has approved the deployment and redeployment of some federal permanent secretaries. Here is a list of those affected. Olumuyiwa Enitan has been redeployed from the Federal Ministry of Aviation to Ministry of Police Affairs. Nebolisa Anako, formerly with Federal Ministry of Power, now moves to Budget and National Planning. Timitokwe Peter Fashidemi moves from Ministry of Police Affairs to the Federal Ministry of Power. Also redeployed are Emmanuel Meribole from Service Policies and Strategies, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, to Federal Ministry of Aviation. Adora Ifoma Ayaotaku moves from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture to Police Service Commission, while Aliu Shinkafi Sheo has been redeployed from Federal Ministry of Finance to the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs. Udo Ekanem, Service Policies and Strategies, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. Jafia Lydia Sheo, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, and Farouk Yusuf Yabo, Special Duties, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. The directive on the handing and taking over should be completed on or before Friday, 26th of August 2022, with the exception of that of the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning arm, which is to take effect from 23rd of September 2022. In other news, the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) has revoked the licenses of 52 broadcasting stations, owing the Commission about 2.6 billion naira. Adebola Boxlin Sunday reports that those yet to update their accounts were advised to do so immediately or face similar sanction.
Every broadcasting media outfit to operate in Nigeria, it is mandatory for such organization to be licensed by the regulator, National Broadcasting Commission, NBC.
Cyberbed communication.
The declaration by the Director General of the Commission, Balarabe Shehu Ilela, is coming 3 months after the agency published the list of licensees indebted to the Commission.
The continued operation of the data station is illegal and constitutes a threat to national security. Therefore, after due consideration, NBC hereby announces the revocation of the license of the underlisted debtors and are hereby given 24 hours to shut down their stations or operations. Our offices nationwide are hereby directed also to collaborate with security agencies across the country to ensure immediate compliance.
The commission is ready for those who are ready to pay their debts before the expiration period of 24 hours.
I may not have 10 million naira. Come and pay 2 million. If you can pay 2 million in a year, we'll take it. We have told them all this, but many of them have refused to come.
All other stations streaming online are advised to register with the commission to avoid disconnection, as having a DTT or FM license does not warrant a broadcaster to stream online. Adebola, Brooks Lane, NTA News.
And to speak more on NBC sanction is Abiodun Adeniyi, Head Mass Communication Department, University of Abuja. Dr. Abiodun, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank
you so much.
University, actually.
Base University, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Despite picking on debts of 2.6 billion, some of the media organizations say there's a political undertone. Do you agree?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a case between regulatory justice and social justice. The NBC has a responsibility, as in accordance with the extant laws, with the establishment laws, and that responsibility includes sanitizing the broadcasting space, especially in a period of insecurity, where those channels can fall into the hands of mischief makers. We're dealing with banditry, we're dealing with the age of banditry, the age of kidnapping. Do not forget their responsibility to also include monitoring online streaming. So if you're not licensed, or if you're not revalidating your license, it just means that you're operating illegally. And when you're operating illegally, you probably might not feel some sense of responsibility to the states in which you are embedded in, the state in which you are operating in. So to that extent, you see NBC is carrying out some regulatory duty. So the other one is social justice aspect of it, which relates with the fact that governments the organizations are operating at a time of economic downturn. Okay. Many of them are probably struggling. They have salaries to pay. And of course, if you sanction them so hardly, of course it might lead to loss of job, probably, if they are going to go under. And on the other round, it may come to affect government. Questions of joblessness will begin to come up again, because the rank of unemployment will be swollen. So that is the other aspect. So otherwise, we will have prayed that maybe NBC view the context in which they are going to wield this stake. Is it right at this time where election is coming up? Where we need more sensitization, more awareness, more creation of awareness to avoid voter apathy. And of course, you cannot get this done except through the instrumentality of media organizations, whether private or public.
Whether private or public. Okay, the cost of license fees, some of them say is kind of huge, that it's too much. But when you talk about the freedom of the press, how does this play?
Well, these are two very important things. There's no freedom without responsibility, and that responsibility means that we must also perform our roles. We must meet our obligations, and those obligations may include finance. So that's what NBC is probably asking us to do, asking the organizations to do. But in asking them to do that, are they capable? Against the background of declining economic challenges left, right, and center. They derive their income from patronages, advert patronages. Where are the adverts coming from? Adverts will come mainly, especially around this time where the Festival of Democracy is done with election. You expect adverts to come through political campaigns, and of course, if they are not operating, where will the funds come from? Are credit lines available to them for them to probably get credit and pay these fees? Those are the things that maybe NBC should consider in carrying out its own responsibility. So overall, we may not completely blame NBC because they have a responsibility, but in carrying out discharging their responsibility, they also have to be mindful, of the challenges of operating in a system, in a political economy with a problematic market, particularly in the circumstance, in the times that we are in.
You are a critical player in the media world. Do you think there are available options for them?
Oh yeah, there are options. NBC told us that they actually wrote them maybe 3 months before now. Engagement is also still possible. you know, we are all Nigerians. The operators are Nigerians. NBC is operating in Abuja here, so they are Nigerians. So they feel the pulse of the people. They're not distant from us. What can happen now is maybe let's find some consensus, some kind of engagement. And I see the entities doing this really. Perhaps NBC should also be considerate, you know. If they cannot pay at once, maybe there should be payments, arrangement for payments in installment, you know, just to cushion the pain, the effect that the fees might have on the operators, realizing that they are employers of labor. And of course, government, the state has an overarching responsibility to tend to citizens, you know, in terms of the creation of jobs. And if these organizations are helping in mitigating the pains of joblessness, of course, they should be considered. They should be assisted in different regards, including allowing them to do graduated payment if they cannot pay at once.
That means amicable solution.
Yes, eventually, yes.
All right, Abiodun Adeniyi, head Mass Communication Based University.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on the news.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're watching the Network News on NTA. Let's take a breather now. More reports ahead. To stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Members of committee constituted to resolve aftermath of the presidential primaries of the party, which saw former vice president and the standard bearer of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, his closest contender, are expected to explore the possibility of reconciling the two politicians and ensure amicable resolutions of the impending issues. The committee members, which had representatives from the two camps, met at Government House, Port Harcourt. Representatives of Atiku Abubakar's camp had Governor of Adamawa State, Hamadu Fintiri, Adamu Waziri and Eyitola Jegede as members, while those on Governor Wike's team include former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Mohammed Bello Adoki, Donald Duke, Olusegun Mimiko and Ibrahim Dankwambo. Addressing journalists after the meeting, which held behind closed doors and lasted for about 4 hours, the governor of Adamawa State, Hamadu Umar Fintiri, stated that deliberations are ongoing to broker peace and unity in the party. A new Association of University Lecturers, Congress of University Academics, has appealed to the government to register it as a union for liberalization and having a paradigm shift from the old order in the Nigerian universities. Speaking on the need to provide lasting solution to protracted university industrial dispute, coordinator of the group, Dr. Niyi Shomunu, described the delay in registering since its application long ago as infringement on its rights.
It is gratifying that the Honorable Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Mr. Festus Keyamo, son, said, and I want to quote, "For the last 3 years, another association of university teachers, HONWA, met all the requirements of registration. We have not registered them. We just respect ASU." End of quote. We have seen unprecedented disruptions in academic calendars in our universities. HONWA is determined to provide solutions to these endemic problems so that our universities once again will have a breath of life.
The association urged the government to convene a stakeholders meeting, including parents, student unions, and relevant government agencies, for brainstorming on seeking solutions to the perennial university problems. Now, the House Committee on Finance investigating the National Integrated Power Projects has condemned the $30 million monthly power purchase commitment by the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC with a power generating company without the Federal Executive Council's approval. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Gushola tells us more.
To take the power. So,
investigation of issues surrounding the National Integrated Power Projects is the mandate of the House Committee on Finance. The committee decided to put its searchlights on the agreement between the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC and Azura, a power generating company, particularly the payment component in the agreement.
But if I don't take the power, I will also pay you for the power, correct?
Surprised by the nature of this agreement and the huge collateral for the nation, the committee decided to probe further.
In one of your communications to Minister of Justice, The Minister of Justice then said, I do not agree with this. It is not in the interest of Nigeria. And I have the documents. And it got back to you, to your office. You then expunged, you as now the MD, then you are the Counsel General. You then expunge that portion.
For Embed, the broad concept underpinning the finance of such power project demands full assurance of payment, and at any rate, a sense of obligation is required to encourage investors. This the committee appears not impressed.
The commitment of government, of course, is to take if the power is available. There may be months where the entire capacity is not available due to Azura-related issues, in which case you pay them for what they put on the grid.
Where the TCN cannot evacuate the power produced by the GENCOs, there is a clause there which says that the federal government or the Embed will pay for the undelivered capacity. Is it true or not?
It, however, directed the Federal Inland Revenue Service to furnish it with tax details of all partners in the nation's power project. From the National Assembly, Dayo Mushola, NTA News.
A bit from the capital market, practitioners within the Nigerian stock market are strategizing to retain Nigeria among the best performing stock markets in the world despite global economic crisis. At a virtual capital market committee meeting of Securities and Exchange Commission in Abuja, progressive issues to this effect were discussed. Bosade Abel reports.
More than 300 capital market operators across the country took to the cyberspace with verifying opinions as conversations on how to eliminate Ponzi schemes in the country, solve unclaimed dividends and fraudulent activities of unregistered investment crowdfunding platforms continue. Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission Lamido Yuguda says despite global inflation and low growth and forecasts, the Nigerian capital market successfully pulled through these illicit activities and is determined to phase them out.
Stiff penalties will be meted out to any stakeholder whose action appears to frustrate the efforts of the Commission on this objective. The Commission has obtained donor funding towards acquiring and deploying a securities market surveillance system. The deployment of the surveillance solution will improve the Commission's regulatory and supervisory capabilities over securities trading activities.
In a bid to position the capital markets in Nigeria for a more robust output, the stakeholders deliberated on the revised Nigerian Capital Market Master Plan 2021-2025 and the need to amend the Investment and Securities Act 2007. In Abuja, Bosede Abel, NTA News.
If life was a pot of gold, many would have been in abundance. But how much could this expression mean to those who may not even have a wish to make amidst hardship? This is where the NEAR Foundation comes in, an organization committed to reaching out to schools for more than a year across boundaries. Abubakar Usman Akwanga tells us more.
Established in February 2021, NEAR Foundation is dedicated in lifting thousands of souls out of the circle of poverty without a price. With a clear vision centered on charity and care, NEAR Foundation reaches out to 28 states across the country and neighboring Niger and Cote d'Ivoire with more than 1,500 cows during the Eid al-Adha celebration. The intervention, which put smiles on the faces of the less privileged population, touching more than 70,000 households, was a gesture to remember. With the foundation, many needy do not have to walk far away because the assistance they seek may just be near their doorsteps, within and outside the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Okansu community for many years has suffered insecurity and poverty as a result of the deplorable state of roads in the area. With the intervention of the Niger Delta Development Commission, the residents are now singing a new song due to the anticipated turnaround of their socio-economic fortunes. Osinachi Ibrahim reports.
The people rolled out their drums to appreciate NDDC for the completion of the 3.6-kilometer road. with a 1.8 kilometer ridged pavement as well as 2 bridges. An intervention that has opened the community for business.
And these areas were places that you can't drive in, you can't even come in, not even on road. There is no way out. This job was given to me. I mobilized down. The community also assisted me in all the jobs, not just only here in but also we were able to do this job, complete this job without issues.
The interim administrator of the NDDC, Effiong Akwa, who inaugurated the road project, thanked the people for being peaceful during the execution of the road project.
Now we can drive our car. When we produce food items, we can bring it to the house. This is a good community. May God bless this community. The contractor. They have done well. Yes. I want to thank the youth of this community. This is one of the best communities that we have visited. I'm throughout their work here. You did not disrupt the workers.
With the completion of the internal roads in Okansu community and its environs, issues of kidnapping and robbery will be history. From Okansu in Oba Ebemandoni local government area of Rivers State, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
Still on infrastructure, following the approval of rehabilitation of Jamaica Bridge in Adamawa State by the Federal Executive Council late last year, work has commenced and reached appreciable stage. Simon Asha reports that the firm handling the project promised to deliver in good time.
Slow down. Diversion ahead is what creates motorists coming from or going out of Yola, the Adamawa State capital, to the Jamaica Bridge following the commencement of maintenance work on the bridge. Jamaica Bridge, which was constructed over 4 decades ago, did not undergo any major maintenance work since then. The approval for the maintenance work, coupled with directives of the Secretary to Governor of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, during an inspection visit 3 weeks ago, the construction firm mobilized to site, hence the commencement of the work.
The bridge has started having some, let me say, some fraction. They not protect it ahead of future tense. There will be a time that we will not even find a way to even cross the other lane from that lane to this lane. There will be a replacement of the damaged construction expansion joints with maintenance of the existing one, and will be milling and asphalt complete on top of the bridge with repair of the approaches. Also, this existing fence, it's as you may see, it's broken mostly, so we remove it and replace it with new one. The ongoing exercise will not only enhance hit-free vehicular movement, but also boost the socio-economic development of the state. In Yola, Simon Asha, NTA News.
You're watching the network news on NTA. Time to head to Lagos, and I guess Himbino was really on my mind earlier, but Michael Olale will be our guide. Nice to see you, Michael.
Nice to see you, Elizabeth. Excited by its current 0% status on Global Piracy Index along Nigeria's maritime domain, the Nigerian Navy and its international partners say they are willing to keep the record that way by deepening military collaboration. This commitment was secured when United States Consul General to Nigeria, William Steve, led the crew of United States Coast Guard quota on a post visit to the Flag Officer Commanding Western Naval Command in Lagos. Adini Taiwo completes the reports.
From Los Angeles in the United States of America, United States Coast Guard Cora Mohawk finds a friendly port in Lagos waters after 67 days at sea, firmly secured away from the strong current that brought her in. Regarding each other as partners of choice in maritime security, Nigeria and the United States have a long history of collaboration, particularly in the areas of trade facilitation and security. Apart from demonstrating America's commitment to security beyond our own shores, the visit of the U.S. Coast Guard Cora Mohawk to Lagos is to further enhance the capacity of the Nigerian Navy, being the largest on the continent, to shut down piracy and other maritime crime threatening international trade along the Gulf of Guinea.
The ability to keep our oceans open and free to trade is essential to alleviating poverty around the world and to increasing our ability to work with one another. So
we'll be conducting discussions, we'll be performing exercises, doing training, and working alongside the Nigerian Navy.
The offer, especially the opportunity for Nigerian sailors to work aboard American ships and vice versa, is another indication of how high the global community places the Nigerian Navy and its role in international maritime security.
Going forward, such collaboration will continue, and that is why you are seeing the MOAC here today. Next week, there's a ship coming from India. In October, another ship will be coming from the UK.
The visit of the Coast Guard ship MOAC is coming about a year after American naval ship USS Herschel Woody Williams paid a similar visit to Nigeria's Premier Naval Command in Lagos. Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
The desirous goals which led to the closure of the semi-land border for 16 months have started manifesting as the Customs Area Command in the Axis says since the reopening of the corridor close to 2 years ago, smuggling activities have reduced drastically. The controller Bello Muamejibo stated this while showcasing the seizure of more than 119,000 litres of petrol. The Semi-Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has constantly expressed worries that the proximity of the corridor to the borderline is stimulating the smuggling of petrol to neighboring countries. Another seizure, majorly petroleum products, spread across 3,998 jerrycans of 30 liters each. The command says it is equivalent of 4 tankers with duty-paid value close to 30 million naira, which were intercepted along the waterways in Badagry. Although a product of long-term planning, effective monitoring and coordinated intelligence gathering and sharing, but the customs credited its long, cordial and rewarding relationship with the host community for the feats.
And I believe this will discourage them, will frustrate them from embarking in such an illegal activity. Within a period of three weeks, apart from this particular seizure, we were able to make an arrest and seizure of 2,121 jerrycans of PMS.
Like most seizures on the waterways, the suspects on sighting the customs took the escape route, but the agency had made a pledge to suppress smuggling to the barest minimum, capitalizing on its partnership with the host community, using initiatives that would discourage youth restiveness. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages. The news continues shortly. Please stay.
Glad to know you're still there. Former Minister of Information Professor Jerry Garner says the premium the Rivers State government places on project delivery is very commendable and a testament that good governance is achievable in the country. The former minister was speaking at the flag-off of the 12th flyover bridge in Obu-Akpo local government area of Rivers State. Ogedi Nyekwere reports.
Construction of the 12th flyover bridge at Mboba Uzoba at the George Junction is born out of the desire of the Rivers State government to address traffic congestion in the metropolis and its environs. Governor Wike says 1.2 billion naira has been earmarked for the compensation of those whose property are affected, warning that anyone caught breaching security in the state will be prosecuted.
Whether you're in PDP, you're in APC, you're in SDP, you're in Accord, you're whatever party you call it, if I catch you trying to plot to bring security in this state, you will go in for it.
Former Minister of Information, Professor Jerry Garner, says the many projects of Governor Wike, especially the flyover bridges, add to the aesthetics of Port Harcourt.
Your sustained emphasis on development projects has shown clearly that good governance is possible through good leadership. You have demonstrated the power of good leadership in delivering development projects to the people of Rivers State.
The 12th flyover bridge will be 927.8 kilometers long. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekwe, NTA News.
The federal government says it will continue to support investors interested in the production, assembling and delivery of electric cars in Nigeria. Director General, National Automotive Design and Development Council, Jelani Aliyu, made the commitment in Abuja while inspecting some electric cars produced in Nigeria. Benny Adams reports.
In 2015, Nigeria signed the Paris Accord on mitigation of greenhouse gases. And from last year, the National Automotive Design and Development Council began the race towards meeting targets set in transportation by supporting the production and distribution of electric cars, plugging into a global value chain.
The momentum we feel is really very encouraging. We hope that it can even be more exponential as more and more investors really go into this type of technology. And as we review the NAIDP, the National Automotive Industry Development Plan, there will be specific additional incentives, fiscal and non-fiscal, to electric vehicle producers and the charging infrastructure.
Jelani says no complications, no changing of oil, and easy to maintain as it records lower total cost of ownership.
It can go up to 482 kilometers on a single charge. So the journey has started. The government is serious in promoting e-mobility. Stakeholders are also beginning to hop onto the bandwagon to begin to produce, assemble, and deliver electric vehicles in Nigeria.
The NADDC has built 18 automotive training centers across the country, in addition to establishing 3 automotive testing facilities in Lagos, Enugu and Zaria, coupled with creation of a friendly ecosystem for the development of the sector. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Interesting. Now, for more reports on the news, let's join Mohammed in Maiduguri. Nice to see you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome to Maiduguri on Network News. Towards enhancing professionalism of security personnel during the forthcoming 2023 general elections, the Nigerian Police Force has organized a workshop on election security management for policemen and other security operatives in the Northeast region as a way of deepening their capacities to advance the cause of democracy in the country. The 2-day capacity building workshop, an initiative of the Inspector General Alkali Baba, took place in Maiduguri, Borno State Capital. Maimuna Garba reports.
The election security management training has as its theme enhancing national security capacity for a secured and credible electoral process in Nigeria. The training can best be described as timely as Nigerians are preparing for the 2023 general elections, hence the need for security operatives and other stakeholders to ensure effective operational coordination for the success of the electoral processes. It is also important considering the security challenges in the country, which security operatives and other strategic agencies need to enhance their professionalism through the best global practices and principles with a view to addressing them for a smooth, free and fair elections.
It is necessary that officers, they are acquainted with the new Electoral Act, and they also, imbibe the tenets of working together with other organizations. We will also want a feedback from them. What has been their experiences in previous elections? What are the gaps? What are we supposed to do to fill those gaps?
The issue of election security management is very, very important. Without it, in fact, it's very difficult for you to conduct any election.
It was also observed by participants that the security situation will improve for a successful polls as Borno State was able to conduct election at the peak of insurgency in 2011 and 2015 with support of the security agencies. DIG Philemon Leha, retired, dwelled extensively on the current state of security and police preparedness for 2023 general elections in Borno and the Northeast region. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
The National Human Rights Commission is sustaining execution of its project on promoting rights of all through reconciliation and transitional justice, being implemented in partnership with Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states. To that effect, a two-day training for traditional religious leaders and other stakeholders in the Northeast on rights protection was organized by the Commission in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Paul Kujavana reports.
The National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, is seeking more collaboration from stakeholders on reconciliation and reintegration, as over 74,000 repentant combatants and their families have so far surrendered to the military and are seeking return to their communities. In order to address and reconcile the untold physical, emotional losses of victims, NHRC, with its partners United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) and European Union, have developed frameworks for transitional justice, a mechanism that addresses community-level reconciliation. The Commission is moving steadily in mobilizing all stakeholders at state and grassroots to build their capacity for reconciliation, transitional and restore justice through a broad-based partnership.
The transitional justice process is a kind of going away from the formal justice process, which is the courts. But we know that if we start succeeding, the tendency will be for everybody to adopt.
It will be great if the Federal Republic of Nigeria, through the National Assembly, will accord a role to this traditional institution for them to ensure enhanced community governance, which will then link the community with governance.
One of the resource persons, Professor Solomon Ebura, observed that the training will build the capacity of community stakeholders as they already have the technical knowledge to succeed. The end result of the National Human Rights Commission project, being implemented in 6 pilot local councils of the 3 states, is peace building for national development. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujavana, NTA News.
And that is it from this zone. The rest of the program will continue in Abuja.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. As the world marks this year's Humanitarian Day, proactive measures to tackle humanitarian crises that may arise from flooding are advised. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports that the Christian Aid is warning of deep consequences if measures to avert flooding are not checked during this rainy season.
Christian Aid proves the number of people in humanitarian crisis in Adamawa, Borno and the Yobe states at 8.4 million. Among them are 2.2 million displaced persons, mostly women and girls, warning government at various levels to be proactive in order not to worsen the situation.
We work, with over 3,000 households benefiting from the ongoing humanitarian response that cuts across food distribution, nutrition, cash distribution. We also have about 1,639 households participating in 20 different income-generating activities.
The Christian Aid reports that 4.1 million people are at risk of hunger from now till September, while over 1 million children under 5 years are vulnerable to acute malnutrition in Northeast alone, stressing that such requires urgent humanitarian interventions. Already, President Muhammadu Buhari has launched plans for humanitarian interventions in Borno State to commemorate this year's Humanitarian Day. Ikechukwu Ndukwe, NTA News.
Our last break, the news continues shortly. Thanks for staying with us. Earlier we told you that 4 additional victims of the Abuja Kaduna train attack regained their freedom. Here are visuals of the released victims. Report says they have reunited with their families. And on that cheering note, we end the network news today. Thank you so much for watching. Do remember to always take action against rape and rapists. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Thank you for your time.